Hi everyone and Happy New Year. This is the first video of the year. I hope you had a great holiday season and sorry I haven't posted as much. I thought I'd be able to do everything I planned, but of course I didn't manage to get it all done. But that's okay. It's a new year now, a new video, and today I'm going to make tomato cabbage. I'll also show you two different ways to cut the cabbage in case someone doesn't have a food processor or doesn't like to use one, because this way you can cut it very easily. You can choose how thick you want to cut the cabbage slices according to your taste. So you can chop it even finer if you want, but it will shrink down in the pot anyway. And of course, you can use a chopper as well, which cuts it much more nicely, as you can see, compared to how I cut it. If you usually grate it, the main thing is to cut the cabbage into something similar. But what we're going to start with now is not the cabbage, but the meatballs that we'll be making to go with it. The ingredients are three rolls: milk, half a kilo of pork, marjoram, breadcrumbs, black pepper, salt, pepper, garlic, 2 eggs, and 1 onion. So let's start preparing or mixing the meatballs. This isn't a classic meatball with paprika because that wouldn't go so well with the tomato cabbage. I poured about 3 deciliters of milk over the rolls, and I brought the same amount of lukewarm water as well. I'm going to mix it in and let the rolls soak up the liquid. Then I'll turn the rolls over in it, and when they've absorbed enough of the liquid, as you can see, my mom is the one pressing them now. After that, all we have to do is squeeze out the excess liquid. Meanwhile, I'll start chopping the onion, of course, with my favorite machine, which I show you in every video. This year, I surprised the best one with it for Christmas. I also got one for my mother-in-law. I hope she's tried it and likes it. And I bought one for my mom too. She's already used it and loves it as well. Just look at how finely it can chop the onion, which is really, really important when making meatballs. So my mom started squeezing out the excess liquid from the bread roll. This is how it gets nice and soft. And this way the meatballs will come apart easily and won't have any big chunks in them. I put the ground meat on top of the bread rolls and I'm adding 2 eggs to it. Now comes the second egg, both the white and the yolk go in together. I add the onion that I chopped up earlier. This is one whole onion chopped very, very finely. You can see the pieces are about the same size as the ground meat, so they're really small. Next, I add pepper to taste. This is about a teaspoon of pepper. Then comes the salt. I give it a little stir, and of course, I'll knead it by hand because that's the best way to mix everything together. All the ingredients are in, and now the garlic has gone in nicely along with the salt and pepper. So these are all in there, and I also added a little bit of marjoram, though I don't know why I didn't record that part. I really like baking on parchment paper because it makes cleaning the dish much easier afterward, and it pretty much catches everything. I also mixed in a tablespoon of breadcrumbs with the meatballs. Then I tried to shape them in this little baking tray, and they went in, and then into the oven. I baked it at 200 degrees for about 40 to 45 minutes, but I'll show you what it looks like. Now let's continue with the tomatoes, with the tomato cabbage. I'll tell you right away that I ended up using one more jar of tomatoes than what I put out here because the cabbage really soaked up the tomato. And here you can see the ingredients: salt, pepper, all kinds of tomato paste you have at home. I basically just used up whatever I had on hand. The main thing is that it should be tomatoey with black pepper, marjoram, and spices, hard onions, and then at the end, some flour for the roux. So we start by sauteing the onions, about 3 to 4 tablespoons of oil, after chopping them up finely with my little onion chopper. I sweat them until they're soft, and when they reach this consistency, I add the cabbage. So choose a good big pot because mine was a 1.7 kilogram cabbage, but it will shrink down a lot, and when it reduces to about half, it will collapse down in the pot, just like you see here. And I toss it a bit in the onion oil, but you don't need to brown it too much. I usually put the lid on at this point and let it steam for about 4 to 5 minutes. I start pouring the tomato juice over it. What I always do is, after this, I pour about 2 deciliters of water into the jar, shake it up nicely. I'll show you in a moment. And then I'll use that to add extra liquid when needed so none of the tomato left in the jar or can goes to waste. This is a really great tip. You should try it out. Roughly speaking, I'd say that about 3 liters of tomato juice went into this, as you can see, because my cabbage was quite large. Of course, I also added a bit of water here, but you'll see the consistency later. Just plan on using about 3 liters of tomato. I'm mixing it together a bit. Don't forget, I always stir awkwardly because I'm holding the camera in my other hand, so I can't really use any force to hold the pot handle and stir at the same time. So here you can see that I'm gradually adding the rich tomato until I reach the desired consistency. Then comes the essential salt, a little bit of sugar, and then the pepper. I always give it a good stir after each addition, then a bit more salt, a bit more sugar. It's worth tasting as you go along, but I think it's best to taste it once everything has truly come together. After adding 1 tablespoon of marjoram, I put the lid on and let it start to come together, and only then do I adjust the flavors again. Now I've added a teaspoon of caraway seeds as well. So as you can see, it started to come together nicely. It looks beautiful, and the cabbage has really cooked down. You can see that. Then I started seasoning it again. My meatballs are almost ready, so I have to move quickly and make the roux. Now I'm showing you step by step so that anyone who's never made a roux before can see how it's done. So I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of flour into the oil and start stirring it gently. And when it starts to brown, not burn, just brown, that's when I'll add some of the juice from the dish. I don't bother making sure no cabbage gets in, or if I'm making bean soup, no beans. Doesn't matter because I'll pour it all back into the pot anyway. Some people only add liquid, but I just scoop some of the dish itself with a tablespoon and add that since it's all going back into the same dish anyway. Now, as you can see, the color is starting to change a bit, but I'll show you on the video exactly when it changes shade. Look, now it's starting to turn golden brown, so now I'll add a couple of tablespoons of liquid or juice from the pot, and I'll start stirring it quickly. Stir it until it's lump free. You'll feel as you do it that you've got a nice smooth sauce, and then you pour the whole thing back into the pot. This is the roux. For those who've never made it before, you might have seen it in other stew recipes on the channel. So I pour it back in like this, mix it in, and let it cook for another 5 to 10 minutes so that this delicious roux can add its flavor to the dish. If needed, you can still add more salt, pepper, sugar, or caraway seeds. Of course, it's very hard to say exactly how much salt, pepper, or sugar you should add. You see, when I cook, you can see that I just toss a tablespoon of salt or pepper into the pot, but you really have to keep tasting the food as you go. So this is what the meatball looks like, and this is a very important thing, sorry. But when you make the roux, you have to add the flour to hot oil. Don't put it in cold oil because that really won't turn out well. So this is exactly how it looks, the truly amazing final result. I sincerely hope you'll definitely try it out for yourself. Please let me know in the comments section below how it ultimately turned out for you. And I will certainly see you in the very next video, but only after you've subscribed, because we absolutely do not watch videos for free here. See you in the next video.